Hi, Chris. It's so nice to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
Very good, and thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, beautiful. And thank you for coming too. It means a whole lot. Okay, Chris, I am so excited to have you on the show for diverse reasons. All right. And the very first one is I strictly believe that knowledge is the solution to what's problem. And I also firmly believe that there are some things that Chris knows that some of my audience needs to hear this stuff directly from your mouth in order to experience transformation. I firmly believe that. And thirdly, I believe that even I myself will learn one or two things from your story, your experiences, your insight. So for that reason, Chris, I want us to get started with your story, the challenges that you faced, and how you overcame them. Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Chris, over to you.
Sounds good to me. Well, I appreciate you having me on, and my entire life I've felt broken. I was born with physical disability. I have two fingers on my left hand and a shorter left arm, and I hid my disability for 17 years, up until about 6 years ago. I always knew people just stared at me, they made comments, but I'll never forget. I used to get bullied by this kid named Patrick in my school all the time. He'd always make fun of my hand for the way it looked, and he reminded me that I was different, that I was a monster. There was one girl in school, she was the prettiest girl in school named Crystal. She was 12th grade, maybe a little bit before. And I finally worked up the courage to ask her out. And I turn around and all my friends are laughing. And I'm like, guys, stop, you're going to mess this up. And I turn around, she's making fun of my hand with the stapler, calling me Claw Boy. Humiliated me in front of the entire class. And from that day forward, I shoved my hand in my pocket. I kept my hand in my pocket for almost 20 years. 20 years, I was reminded that I wasn't enough, that I was broken, that my physical disability or the way I was born dictated what I could achieve in life. Some people might feel that way because of the way they were born or who they were born to or the environment they're in or the environment they find themselves in. That was definitely me. So I kind of accepted this glass ceiling on potential of what I could achieve until a few years ago. I finally made that choice to be more than my disability, to be more than the condition that I ended up acquiring on the way, type 1 diabetes. And I said, what could I do with where I'm at right now to make this a little bit better? Or honestly, make this suck a little bit less. There had to be something more to life than being broken. So I challenged myself to try and find what that might look like, and it was hard. I had to find I'm a one-handed guy living in a two-handed world. So I had to find my own way. And I started through the gym, through lifting weights, and I ended up breaking a world record in powerlifting and getting on a TV show with The Rock, and all of this cool stuff happened. Magazines, billboards, all. But the coolest thing to me was being able to walk into a grocery store and buy groceries without hiding my hand. To have people, kids and adults who are like me, see that it's okay to be different. That different is not weird, it's normal and it's awesome. So now it's my job to help people see their world without limits through their differences and normalize differences and make them awesome. So I'm really thankful and happy that I made it here, let alone took the opportunity to impact other people's lives. And I'm going to continue doing this for the rest of my life.
Beautiful, beautiful, Chris. Your story is so inspiring, and I am
I
so
appreciate that.
excited. Yeah, I'm so excited that people like you are actually still on this planet because I will lie to you, Chris. So many people have fallen victim of that bullying because of disability, and some the emotions got into them and they just ended it. So getting to hear your story, that just keeps screaming hope that it is still possible to bring out the best, even though people have written you off or tagged you all sort of names. It is still possible to work on yourself and become the very best that you were created to be. So your story is very, very inspiring. and I
Thank
found
you.
it really helpful, Chris. Okay, so shall we get started with questions?
Perfect.
Ah,
That sounds good to me.
all right, beautiful. Okay, so can you talk to us about how one can turn health issues into wealth issues? That's me wanting you
So,
to go deep now.
yeah, that's actually one of my first ever keynotes. I am a professional keynote speaker now, and I travel all around the world speaking about overcoming adversity and disability inclusion and change. One of my first ever keynotes was titled Turning Health Issues into Wealth Issues. And while, yes, I've created a career, I've gotten my dream life from speaking, it's incredible. The real wealth that I'm talking about is quality of life. No amount of money can replace quality of life. No amount of uh, anything you desire, no materialistic things can replace quality of life. I've helped people lose 80 to 100 pounds when I was a fitness trainer, and they were still unhappy. I've helped people make lots of money in marketing, and they were still unhappy because money, weight, any of that is not quality of life. I turned my health issues into wealth issues by realizing, yes, I had a disability. Yes, I had diabetes, but I was not broken. I was not less than because of something I never asked for. With diabetes, it's a minute by minute condition, but that's not, I'm not diabetic. I'm Chris. You know, I'm not patient 47. I'm Chris. I'm not my skin color. I'm not my financial situation. I'm not any of those things other than Chris. And I choose not to be defined by the things that have happened in my life. I allowed myself to use my health issue to help other people, which now became a wealth issue. And it's a great issue to have. I truly believe if you focus on giving other people, it will come back to you, not out of expectation, but out of just reciprocity, out of life. Uh, a quality of life comes through giving, not taking. And I'm a firm believer of that. And by giving back to everyone else what I needed most, I got in abundance. So turning health issues into wealth issues, I didn't get rid of my disability. I didn't get rid of my diabetes. All I did was recognize that they don't control me anymore.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that. I love that. Okay, so still have some questions here. So let's say someone asks you, hey Chris, how can I get unstuck and completely reinvent my life? What would your response be? I want you to dive in on that.
Absolutely. So I'm actually coming out with a new book in September called The Art of Changing Course. It's my second book, and it's all about getting unstuck. It's about reinventing your life. It's about not feeling like you are stuck living the life you've already lived. I truly believe that you don't have to become a prisoner to your past. You don't have to stay the way you were. You always have a chance to change. And feeling stuck is usually a combination of being afraid to make a choice, being afraid to make a decision, and a lack of clarity in what exactly to do. So you almost get paralyzed in this situation. A funny exercise that I'll do with you right now. Are you a morning person or a night person?
Morning,
Morning?
morning. Yeah.
Morning. Okay, cool. The funny thing about that is that's not true.
Hmm.
And here's why.
Okay.
You're not a morning person. You just have a habit of waking up early. If you
Hmm.
wanted to become a night person, you would just stay awake later and wake up later. You are not a morning person. You just have a habit of waking up early. That's not who you are. It's what you do,
Hmm.
which means we define ourselves so much by what we do and we think we're stuck that way. I'm not a gym person. I just have a habit of going to the gym. I wasn't born a gym person. I chose to become one. So when we say things like, oh, I'm lazy, I'm stupid, I'm worthless, we're deciding to become something. It's a choice because you're not lazy. You had a habit of being lazy in the past, yes, but that's not who you are. You are not what has happened to you, and you are not what you have done in the past. You are who you choose to be. And that's the most important part of life is deciding who you are is not based on your habit, but based on your choices.
Beautiful, beautiful. It is not based on your habit, but based on your choices. Got that.
Absolutely. Everyone is one choice away from a completely different life.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Beautiful. I got that. Okay, so let us look at, you mentioned fitness earlier. So how has fitness played a role in your journey of self-acceptance and confidence?
Fitness taught me how to fail. And I was so afraid of failure. A lot of people are so afraid of failure that we try to avoid it. And one of the best ways to avoid failure is to not do anything at all. You can't get into a car accident if you stay at home, but that level of avoidance stops any sort of success or quality of life that you're chasing. By avoiding everything, nothing will ever happen to you, good or bad. So fitness taught me that it's okay to fail. And if anything, failing is a step forward. And I learned to fail forward. I learned to make mistakes in public because that's okay. It's not embarrassing to try. If anything, it's more embarrassing to not try. I respect the person who has failed more than the person who has never failed at all because they never did anything. Fitness taught me that abs, muscles does not fix your life. Having a better body does nothing if you don't have a better mind. If you don't have a better heart, if you don't put priority on quality of life, and fitness is a part of quality of life, but it's not everything. Money is a part of quality of life, but it's not everything. These are all components of quality of life. And yes, we do have to take care of ourselves and take care of our body, take care of our financial situation, take care of our emotional state. But the goal is quality of life, not just quality of bank account or quality of abs. I found work ethic, I found resilience through fitness. And I learned that just because I looked better on the outside doesn't make me a better person on the inside. There's still more work to do.
Yeah. I got that. You know, I really love how you are answering those questions.
I
You're
appreciate
making
it.
it very easy to understand.
Thank
Okay, so we still have two more questions to go. All right, can you share with us a memorable moment from one of your speaking engagement? You've got any?
Oh yeah, so there's a lot, but the first one I'm drawn to, I've had lots of funny moments. I've put people on my shoulders and squatted them to show the weight of diabetes or disability. I actually spoke in Uganda, in Arua, about diabetes to a bunch of different villages and tribes from Nairobi, from South Sudan, Congo. Um, and my talk was being translated in two different dialects as I was speaking. I threw one of the camp counselors over my shoulder and started squatting him and explaining this is how diabetes feels. It's ugly, it's gross, and everyone was laughing. It was great. Um, but I love showing people the weight of things by like lifting something heavy. It's cool, but it really does feel like you have an extra person on your back, weighing you down constantly. And what I didn't realize for a long time, and the kids loved when I showed this, I kept asking, what do I need to do? They were like, oh, just walk, just, move around, squat him, run. The real thing, I needed to put him down. And for so long, I never put him down, and in my life, putting him down was letting go of the idea that I could ever have a left hand, letting go of the idea that I wasn't diabetic. I carried that burden instead of put the burden down. And we all do that. So when I did that moment there, it was really impactful and it was a lot of fun.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing with us. Okay, so when you go to the speaking event, what is your primary message? You know, when you speak to your audiences.
So with my book coming out, the primary message about change is you can be the catalyst to change your own life. You're one decision away. It comes from accountability and taking small action that leads to big action. I often explain to people, if you took a flight from Los Angeles and you wanted to go to Italy, if the plane changed course by 1 degree, you could end up in Tunisia or in Austria, completely different countries, just by 1 degree off. But that same 1 degree can change your life. By changing your habits by 1 degree, a 1 degree shift, that's it. That's all it takes. It doesn't mean you have to go to the gym and work out 7 days a week. It just means once a week, do a few jumping jacks. Once a week, do a few push-ups. Twice a week, don't eat fried food. Small changes over time compound, lead to big changes. And that's what I'm trying to help people understand. Whether you're running 100 miles or you're running a quarter of a mile, both start with a single step, repeated over time. It's possible. Whether it's slow, fast, hard, easy, it's possible. But it all takes a single step.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love that. Okay, Chris, it has been an insightful moment with you on the show. So to bring this to an end, Chris, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those ones who would like to reach out to you, learn more about what you do, and even get your book once it's out, how can that be possible?
Of course, I want to leave everyone with one message. I vow to be the person I never had growing up. I vow to be a lighthouse for people, to help them go to the shore instead of the rocks, you know? And that only can happen by me living to the best of my ability, by me living as a leader and as a mentor. So I'd encourage everyone listening, start living as the best version of yourself. Ask yourself, what would the best version of you do today? What would the best version of you choose in this situation if you're faced with a hard decision? What would the best version of you do every day before you go to sleep? And by living that way, you lead that way. And by leading that way, you can leave an impact. So I just want I want to leave everyone with that piece. You can follow me anywhere. I appreciate you. You can follow me anywhere on social media at Chris Ruden. I do have a new book coming out, and the support would mean the world right now for me. It's currently in pre-order on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, and it's called The Art of Changing Course by myself, Chris Ruden. Any pre-orders are appreciated. The official launch is September 4th, but pre-orders before then are fantastic. And anyone who does pre-order will have private access to me in some life coaching private community. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you doing this and sharing your message, because you don't understand. Every guest like myself that you have on this podcast is an opportunity to create a lighthouse, an
Yeah.
opportunity to create quality of life. So thank you for doing the work that we need more of.
Thank you too, Chris, for sharing your inspiring story and this valuable information. It's really helpful. So that's gonna be the end of the show, man. Thank you for coming and thank you for, you know, honoring the invite. Thank you so much.
Of course, of course. I look forward to what you do with this platform, and I'll be happy to share any way I can.
Beautiful.